What's going on, everybody? Tobin here with you. Thanks for checking us on out. Much appreciated. Feel better after, a day of hearing you guys on the radio show. If you guys like the Tobin and Leroy show, check us on out at the WQAM YouTube page. And, of course, if you guys can check out my new project, The Porpoise Pod, about 20 episodes in. Myself and Alejandro Solana, we are, giving you about 3 episodes a week, breaking down Dolphins in all way and immediate reaction after the game and all that. So, yeah, plenty of places to get my Dolphins thought, but always fun bouncing it off different people, whether it be my partner in crime in Leroy Horde or my fellow Porpin co-host Solana. So check that stuff on out, guys. Appreciate the support, appreciate the content, all that stuff. We got big news today. That was not surprising, especially getting in the news this weekend that Tua Tagovailoa cleared concussion protocol, but Mike McDaniel saying that he is officially going to practice on Wednesday in preparation to be the starter for Sunday Night Football against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And thank the football gods that Tua Tagovailoa is coming back. I mean, it is music to my ears to hear that number one, Uno, is going to be back out there under center for the Miami Dolphins. They need him. They don't win a lot without him, and it's going to feel a whole lot different having him out there. For all the controversy that this guy takes, for all the backlash, and, I don't know, how good is he? What about his arm? Does he know how to fall right? Is he made a It's crazy. Like, he's the only guy who's made out of glass. Yet this own team has gotten 3 quarterbacks hurt in the span of 3 weeks. So, maybe they got to check to the guys up front, which I'm a little bit bummed out about. I mean, honestly, was really hoping that wasn't going to be as big of an issue this year. Probably should have seen some of it coming, especially with Teron Armstead, knowing that, he is a guy who never plays a full season and that the other injuries were going to catch up to him eventually. But that has definitely been big letdown as far as this season is concerned, with the offensive line looking like it was kind of okay, pedestrian, making it through. But now it's like, oof, it's been a tough go of it. But getting him back, there's no way that it's not going to be a pep in the step. First of all, he's a very quick decision maker. I think that just getting everybody in line from that spot, I think that his receivers got to be feeling great getting him back. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill have both had to do some crazy work with Tyreek Hill and Skylar Thompson in making some of these catches just anything viable for this offense. And felt they did as good a job as possible, but we saw how they were connecting with Tagovailoa earlier on in the year. So I think it's going to be absolutely huge getting him back. And, all of this stuff, as bad as it has been with you blowing a 3-0 start to the season and being 3-3, it is nice that you're going into this quote-unquote soft part of the schedule and you're getting a fresh start of it with Tua. Now, I mean, look, you're still, I think everybody's a little bit nervous and hopeful that he's okay and that he's going to be good to go for all of this, but you got to believe that he is absolutely got to be jonesing to get back out there, because he knows how important this year is to him, his career, and how important he is to this team winning. They're not as successful without him, and that's just the facts about it. But here is Mike McDaniel discussing Tua and what he expects from him coming into this week.
The plan is for him to approach the game as the starter. So he'll be able to get those reps in on Wednesday, and felt really good about how he was able to get back on the field. What's unique about his whole process was that his last full week of practice was the week of the Buffalo Bills game. So that last week was a big week to get through the protocol, see all the specialists, get all the information, and then get him back moving around. He responded real well and was his exuberant self, and we'll be excited to see him practice on Wednesday. And I know the team will be as well.
Yeah, the team has to be absolutely – it's going to be a mental and spiritual lift, I think, for the team to have him back out there. this has had to have been a big mental warp on everybody between seeing him get stretchered off the field, and then every single plan that you've basically put forth since the Cincinnati game has been thrown in a blender. You think, all right, Tua's going to start on the short week. He gets taken off the field. You think you're going to start Teddy Bridgewater. He can't finish the game. You think you're going to go with Skylar Thompson and give him all that prep. He can't finish the game. And I just think that it would be nice for this team to not only get to some normalcy, but get back to what was really working for them, which was, Tua getting the ball to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, and then, needing to put up some points. That's been the thing, is that they've put up yards, and that's been impressive. But they got to get in the end zone, even with Tua. They had the one game against Baltimore, but they really need to, take advantage of all these opportunities and not let them slip by. I think this is going to be good for him, though. And it certainly doesn't hurt that it's a big, sexy time matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who happen to have Brian Flores. You guys all know the answer to that, on their coaching staff. And there's nothing like a little getting ready for the petty, the grand petty of them all, to get you right in the mind. I think Tua has shown himself. He said this a couple times in camp this year, where it's like, don't take his, niceness for weakness. Like, this is just because he is, a pleasant person to deal with does not mean that he's not driven, does not mean that he does not have that dog in him. And I do think that there would be, as delightful as a person he is, Christmas cards and all, I think that he would love nothing more than to stick it to this team, to hit Brian Flores with a big old mime golf swing after scoring 3 touchdowns on their ass. I think that would tickle his fancy greatly. I think that Dolphin fans would love to see Minkah Fitzpatrick get roasty toasty by Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle up and down the field. I think that this has a lot of the makings of what could just be a real get-right game. Pittsburgh's been dealing with their own turmoil. They're not very good. Mitch Trubisky coming back in for Kenny Pickett and his tiny hands, finding out that Mitch Trubisky was basically benched for fighting with a teammate anyway. It wasn't even performance-related, even though his performance wasn't any first prize either. So for this team, this feels like one to really get you back on track. Some of that comes with pressure too. I mean, like, look, if you don't win this game, you're going to feel like the season's in a tailspin. So there's definitely some pressure on it as well. But I think that, Sunday Night Football, the 50th anniversary team, the 72 team getting honored, even old Stephen Ross coming back. Like, how does it not all feel like it's lining up for yourself being in a good spot? But by the way, I didn't know if this was a crazy thing, but speaking of Dolphins owner, how about old Fergie Ferg getting in on the comments? It was on the Mike Gesicki Gritty post on Instagram. She says, still saw some great football played today. Love the spirit. Keep it moving. Beautiful. Listen, Fergie Ferg, Dolphins owner, still loving the spirit, dude. How do you not love that? Now it's just time for the Dolphins to get over their humps. Their humps. Their lovely little lumps. Check it out. Anyway, the other thing that was interesting from Mike McDaniel in this press conference today, other than, I thought he had a couple of interesting things on Tua. But one of them was the idea that, he hopes out of this that Tua does continue to grow in learning when to concede plays, because he is a guy who always looks to get plays done. And I do think that that's the interesting thing about him. One of the misnomers about Tua is that, he plays the safe route. He plays it safe. He's a check down Charlie. It's not the case. I mean, I think if anything, Tua's biggest downfall is that he tries to make too much happen. That he's always looking for the big play, that he's always looking to keep a play alive. And a lot of that has led to some of his, big injuries over his career. So, maybe this has to just be a really, really unfortunate reminder as to why he has to learn to live another day with some of these plays, like, a lot of the greats do, and needs to be one of those quarterbacks that we're all shaking a fist at a TV for because, is that roughing the passer? But, he's fine afterwards. But I think the other thing that was interesting was him talking about Jalen Waddle. And I was hard on Jalen Waddle afterwards, but I thought that rightfully so. I thought that, and I say that because I love Jalen Waddle as a player. I think that if you don't like Jalen Waddle, I mean, what the hell is wrong with you? But I think that it's okay for you to root for a team and just say what it is. I wasn't saying anything controversial when I say that Jalen Waddle blew that game. I just think that with all the adversity that you're dealing with and you still have a chance to win, you can't have your best guys cough it up like that when you're marching down the field on the way to win. It's heartbreaking. You can see how gut-wrenching it was to him. But Mike McDaniel on what he thought about Jalen Waddle being so upset.
Definitely case by case for him in particular. I recognize it as a good thing in nature. Like, it's good that you're mad. But he's a young player that is going to have a wonderful career, and we rely on him to make plays for us. So to me, I think the one of the things that he can take a step forward in is being able to translate that frustration towards the next play rather than his helmet in the sideline bench.
Agreed. Like, look, for everybody who said that they saw Jalen Waddle and seeing how distraught he is and thinks that he's going to use this as fuel to the fire, I agree. I think that he is the type of guy that will do that. I think that the guy truly does have greatness in him, and that this will be a learning moment for him, and that they will get better for it. So that's all you can hope to take out of a game like that. When you lose in such gut-wrenching fashion, especially with all the adversity this team has faced, and you're really just dying to get back in a win, give yourself some breather room and all that type of stuff, to lose in that fashion, I do think that Jalen Waddle will take that, that grand mistake that cost this team a game, potentially, and hopefully it'll end up to be something positive. And we know that Tua and Jalen Waddle have themselves a special connection between the both of them. Tyreek Hill has a special connection with everybody. No matter who's out there, he seemingly is putting up numbers. He's really, blowing everybody away with the kind of production he's put forth for this team. And not only that, he's going to get him a really badass ping pong table. So what's not to love about the cheetah, Looking forward to the rest of this week. I think this is going to be a fun, news-filled week with a lot of storylines involved. Of course, Brian Flores returning to Hard Rock Stadium against the team that he is currently suing, and against a quarterback who he did not seem to really support or like very much. And very, very interested to see that. He's not going to get interviewed this week, I don't think. The linebacker coach is going to get interviewed. Sometimes they do position coaches, but I think it varies by team. I can't imagine they're going to make him available to the media, especially with all the legal stuff that's around it. But Tua will be, that's for sure. I don't know. It'll be interesting this week if Stephen Ross is going to talk. He is freshly off suspension, and, he doesn't normally talk unless he has to. But it will be interesting to know if he's also a guy who would want to kind of get his side of the story out there before this becomes a national storyline. So I'd be curious to see if we do hear from the Dolphins owner, who is now eligible to return to things after the tampering case, where he felt there was no wrongdoing, with the Brian Flores situation where he also feels like there was no wrongdoing. And I would wonder if there is any element of Brian, because Mike McDaniel really can't talk to it. The difference between this and last year, I got on the Dolphins with the whole Deshaun Watson thing, is, Brian Flores is out there. He kind of no-sold it. Chris Greer, he didn't talk to anybody, and they just kind of left Tua out there holding the bag for all this. And I wonder if they're going to do that again, because Mike McDaniel, he wasn't here, can't really speak on it. And so then you're kind of just leaving your quarterback fresh off of all of this stuff with the concussion that he has to answer for. Now his supposed bad relationship with Ryan Flores he has to answer for. I almost in a way think it would be nice if the organization did take questions this week, maybe after Tua spoke, to kind of just put all that stuff aside. But I think it would almost be almost a solid to Tua. Maybe best if Stephen Ross spoke, the Wednesday before Tua was going to talk, just so all this stuff. Maybe that opens up a can of worms. I don't know. I'm a media guy, so I'm greedy for everybody to talk. But also, he seems like a guy who really wants to side of the story out there. So I'll be curious. I would say most likely he won't, and he won't talk. But, it just was kind of something that was rattling around my brain when I saw it. I was like, I wonder if Stephen Ross would want to get in front of some microphones this week before the whole national TV and the broadcast kind of spins whatever they think their narrative is of it, and they get their first shot of him in the press box on Sunday Night Football and all that stuff. That's, could he say how much the team supports Tua now, how much they love Mike McDaniel, all that stuff. But if I had to guess, they probably won't. But I don't think it would be the worst idea in the world. I really don't.